Let's face it, diagnostics and drivability in particular are among the most challenging that technicians face on a daily basis. But implement a strong interrogation process with your customer and you'll likely make light work of any diagnostic situation. Want to find out more? Join me on this episode of The Trainer. It's no secret that technicians across the world struggle on a daily basis with diagnostics and drivability in particular. And it's because of the vast array of years, makes, models, engine configurations, and even propulsion systems that challenge technicians on a daily basis. However, one of the biggest challenges I faced as a young and up-and-coming technician is developing a solid diagnostic game plan. And that begins with a customer interrogation process. Implementing a strong interrogation process early on with your customers before you begin addressing the vehicle can save countless hours and sometimes thousands of dollars of unnecessary testing and component replacement. Asking simple questions about temperature, weather, and frequency of a fault occurrence can aid in giving you diagnostic direction, again, before spending any time on the vehicle unnecessarily. I'll tell you a little bit of a story. For example, a 1996 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra came into the shop, driven by an elderly gentleman with the complaint that the vehicle stalls intermittently after driving for several minutes. After interrogating the customer, it was determined that the stall typically occurs during evening driving, and more so when he comes to stop signs and stop lights. With that being said, after a preliminary discussion with the customer, the technician accompanied the customer on a road test to witness the stall occur. After approximately 10 to 15 minutes of driving, both the customer and the technician were able to replicate the stall. Upon the exhibition of the stall, immediately the key was turned to the start position and the engine cranked repeatedly with no start. The customer exited the vehicle, kicked the tires as he made his way around the vehicle, and re-entered the vehicle. After approximately a minute or two, the vehicle was once again started and it ran flawlessly until the vehicle made it back to the shop. Now this is where a strong customer interrogation comes into play. Again, the customer's initial complaint was that a stall occurred. The stall tended to occur more so at night, and the stall tended to occur mostly at stop signs and or stop lights. Armed with this preliminary information, the technician thought it best to do some research. Implementing some logic, taking into account what the customer told the technician, driving at night, inferred that the headlights were on. The technician replicated the concern with the headlights on quite easily and also noticed with the car running and the headlights on, the lights began to dim shortly before the stall occurred. At that point, the technician thought it best to research a wiring diagram. And as you can see here, 8 different light bulbs find ground reference at G403. That the fuel pump also found ground through G403. Armed with this information, the technician cross-referenced the symptoms exhibited, the time in which the symptoms were exhibited, and what else may be operating at the time the symptoms were exhibited. Due to the fact that the vehicle was stalling at nighttime, this inferred to the technician that the lights were likely illuminated. After starting the vehicle, the technician turned the headlights on and was able to easily reproduce the stall concern that was only occurring while driving on the road. The technician took notice that the lights began to dim shortly before the stall occurred. Leveraging the power of service information and what the technician was already armed with, Research of the wiring diagram for the lighting system revealed that 8 light bulbs found ground reference through G403. Referencing information regarding the fuel pump wiring diagram, it too sought ground through G403. At that point, the technician found where G403 was located in service information, and it was located right within the interior of the right rear wheel well of the vehicle. The technician then questioned the customer if the vehicle was recently in any kind of collision, and the customer indicated that to be true. The technician sought out a poor ground reference at G403 with information regarding current flow, sampled very easily from the fuse box. As we can see here, current began to drop with the headlamps turned on shortly before the stall occurred. This prompted the technician to perform a visual inspection at G403, where the ground eyelet was found to be poorly secured over a painted surface, causing a voltage drop as current began to flow. Only with all 8 bulbs illuminated through the headlamp switch, the brake bulbs illuminated through depression of the brake pedal, and the fuel pump running with the engine on ignition switch on, that the fault was able to be produced. Armed with the power of the information leveraged from the customer interrogation process, the driving conditions in which the symptoms were exhibited, the other components that were operating at the time the symptoms were exhibited, and the wiring diagrams, we were able to easily cross-reference all to come up with a diagnosis, a justified reason for disassembly and inspection. Before doing so, the fault was confirmed through preliminary data grab, leveraging a lab scope and an amp probe. And all of these serves as stepping stones to locating the problem quickly and efficiently. So as you can see, diagnostics and drivability will continue to be a challenge, but this challenge can be easily overcome when we implement logic and sound diagnostic strategies that will give us preliminary answers to the questions we seek, providing stepping stones closer to the problem, the root cause of the symptoms being exhibited. I'm Brandon Steckler, technical editor of Motor Age magazine, and thank you for joining us on this episode of The Trainer.